Everyone, this is Harmony with Cornerstone Stitchery and welcome to my channel. Here we talk about my crafting journey, which usually revolves around cross stitching, but we do have some knitting and crochet thrown in sometimes. I want to thank everyone for subscribing, liking, commenting, and watching my videos. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. There's so many videos out there that you could be watching, so I do appreciate that you take some time out of your schedule to come stop by here and see what I'm up to. So this is actually going to be a bonus cut video, and it's only going to revolve around or include my plans for September, which is Prairie Schooler. So I do have a hashtag, a Prairie Schooler September, that I will be using when I do post on Instagram. It won't be every day. I did find that that was a bit much for me even during the Summer Olympics, but I will post every so often. And if you want to follow along or even join in stitching Prairie Schoolers and using that hashtag, you are more than welcome. So let's go ahead and get started. So I found that I had 4 Prairie Schooler charts started and 15 Prairie Schooler charts waiting in the wings just for their opportunity to have their day. So I decided I was going to do it. I wanted to stitch Prairie Schoolers. I love Prairie Schoolers. They are my favorite designer. I just like, they're classic to me and I really enjoy them. There's block stitching, not a super heavy amount of color changes. There are some colors, but I mean, not like some of the other projects that I've worked on. So they're just up my alley and I like them a lot. So what I did is I did a little video and I will put it in here if technology allows. I put them all on a wheel and then I spun the wheel, and when it landed on one, I wrote it down and I hid that slice so that way it wasn't an option again. And so I did that all the way to the end, so that way I would have all 19 of them randomly chosen by the wheel. And I am going to put in 500 stitches and then move on to the next one. So I could be switching 2, maybe 3 times per day, depending on if it's a weekday, weekend, what's going on. So I had plans to do it a little bit differently, to do the wheel differently and not hide the slice after it came up and just stitch through however the wheel said. Some of them I did do that as a test, but some of them I would be working on 3 times before I would even get to some of the others that haven't been chosen once. So I decided that probably wasn't very good, and it wasn't a very good plan for me at this time. So using the wheel to get them in order from 1 to 19 was a much better plan for me. So I did start this on September 1st. Today's September 2nd. So I do have some progress to show, as well as the order of projects and how I got my fabric together and all of that. I hope to not take too much of your time, but I'm really excited about Prairie Schoolers. So let's get started. So the first one that popped up was Country Seasons, and this is book 123, Country Seasons. When I was gathering the fabric for this, I only got 1 piece, and it was kind of like this oddball shape, but I knew that one of these, because there's 4 of them, I knew that one would fit on the piece of fabric. Well, then when I got ready to stitch it yesterday, I actually put in two strands of floss, and I was looking at it, I'm like, wow, I have a big margin over on this side, and if I just moved it over 1 inch, I could get 2 side by side with enough fabric in between to cut it and mount it on a board of some kind. I wouldn't be able to frame it like this, but I would be able to mount it on a board, and that's okay with me. And I actually think that there's enough fabric on the top where I could turn one sideways and stitch a 3rd one on that piece of fabric. What happened was I thought I coffee tea dyed enough Monaco to cover all of the charts that I needed to cover with the coffee and tea dyed fabric, and I didn't. And I think I made a grave error when I cut a piece for one of the biggest piece, And I think I had plans to purchase fabric for that one, but I'm rolling with it. I do have more fabric that I can coffee tea dye to make up the difference. So I'm going to get three of the seasons on one piece of fabric, and then I just have to dye some more fabric for the 4th season. I started with winter because as I was going through my flosses, I had enough to get flosses to get started on winter. Now, when I kit something, it's 100% ideal for me to kit it with all of the flosses, and I don't care if I have multiple flosses, like 310. I don't care if I have 310 in 10 different projects. I'm okay with that because I know that I will go through most of these colors often enough. So even though that's my ideal situation, starting 15 projects and having them kitted fully, it could be kind of pricey. So I just pulled out what I had and then bought what little I needed. So I just needed to purchase 20, well, I had on my list 22 skeins to have enough floss to get each of them started and get 500 stitches on them so I could move on to the next project. So I don't have all of them. So I had enough to get started with winter. And let me fold this up so that way, this is a piece that I coffee tea dyed this go around, and I'll show you both sides. This is what I'm using as the back side, and it is the darker side. And then this is the light side, which is the side my project is on. So how I do my coffee tea dye, when I'm coffee and tea dyeing fabric, I've only done Monaco and I think maybe 1 or 2 pieces of Ada. I've tried putting in the oven and the execution on my part was not well, and so I didn't care for that very much. So what I do is I do the whole coffee tea on the stove, boiling it, putting the fabric in there, getting it the color that you kind of want it. Then what I do is I take it out and let it all drip, and then I lay down garbage bags and I lay the fabric on the garbage bags and I just let it sit there and dry. Then what I do is I lay it over top of the dryer, and when clothes get washed and dried, then the heat from the dryer will help set the coffee and tea in the fabric. This particular go round, I let it sit for several days, was on the dryer for several loads of laundry. But then what I did is I took it and I put it in the dryer. I took a chance, put it in the dryer for 20 minutes on high heat. But what happens though is when you lay it down is the water will go down on the fabric because of gravity. So the bottom side actually gets the most, like what, the coffee and tea that's still in the water that's left in the fabric. The back side will be dark and the top side will be lighter. Well, for Prairie Schoolers, that was perfect for me because then I could choose if I wanted the light side or the dark side. And the dark side wasn't too dark, but for these particular charts, the light side I felt was perfect. So this is 512 stitches on winter from Country Seasons. And I started with the border and then the little tree in that block on the bottom. And I moved my way up to get 512. So because I'm missing colors, like that's supposed to be a bird right there in the white, but I don't have that color. So what I will do now is I will write down what I will need for next time, and I will slowly build that in. And since I go from the bottom right to the top left and, kind of out from the bottom right corner, I will get the colors as I need them in this particular pattern. So I don't have to get them all at one time because I have lots of projects going on, but I will slowly but surely get them. So all of my Prairie Schooler charts that I will show you today are stitched on Monaco, which is a cotton even weave. It's 28 count. All of this, most of this, I would say 98% of this is Monaco off the bolt, which they no longer make on the bolt. I got it from a supplier online, and she is completely out now, she said. So, but this is what I'm using. There's a couple of them that I am using, the 28 count white Monaco, that you can still purchase. They come in tubes. They're 15 by 18 or 20 by 24 cuts, depending on which one you get. I think you can get white and tea dyed. I think they call it tea dyed, but it's basically tea colored, a beigey brown. So that's what I'm doing. And the white ones I left white, and then some of them I left the color that it came, and I think it's off white, and then the ivory is the ones that I copy tea dyed. So this is Country Seasons number 1. Number 2 was a whip that I already had. It's January. It's book 177, January. I already did the small little ornament Snow Day. I already did that. And now I'm working on the medium size one right here. I'm working on that one. And I already had some great progress with it before, but then I got 503 stitches on it today. So let me show you my progress. I don't have the ornament in here. I put that somewhere else with my stack of finishes. But this is the medium on Snow Day. And I finished the border. My skein of 3371, which is used for the border and some other pieces, was running low, and I wanted to be able to use one skein for the entire border, because then if the color didn't match up exactly, then it's going to be less likely. The color difference in the dye lot would be less noticeable. So I went and finished the border, and then I started stitching in the corner with this child, the tree, and there's a sled over here. So that's what I did today, and I feel 503 stitches is pretty great progress, especially for one day. So this is the off-white Monaco, and I think I implied it, but I forgot to actually say out loud that I'm using the called for DMC, except for sometimes in the Halloween charts, I will substitute out the 3371 for 310. I'm thinking about doing that a little bit differently with some of these. I did put in either 3371 or the 310 in there, but of course I reserve the right to change my mind. So those two are done for now. I'm going to start propping them up over there. So then I started working on Pumpkin Patch. Pumpkin Patch is book 140. And I was contemplating if I was going to start with the big one or the small one. And I started with the big one. And I am making good progress already. So this is a piece that I had already had. And this is one reason I'm going to show you one reason why the oven is not my preferred method, because I tend to overcook it, so to speak, and it gets too brown. But on the front side, it's not that bad. So I'm using the front side for this one. And this is my progress. That is the total width of the big piece from this chart. And when I started with the orange squares, and then when I get the brown filled in, the 3371, I will have 270 stitches already. So I'll have half of my goal just in that little bottom border. And I think that's pretty great progress too, but I will continue stitching until I get the 300. So that's project number 3. Number 4 is Trick or Treat. Let's see. Trick or Treat is book 188. It comes with a big one and then 2 smaller ones. And I might actually start with one of the smaller ones on this one, see how close I can get to a finish. We'll see. We'll see. I am using the off-white Monaco on this one with called for DMC. It looks like I have 310 in here, so we'll see if I go with 310 or if I sub out. When I went to Joann's the other day, they only had 6 skeins of 3371, so I got them all, and I was anticipating only needing 8, But if I use 3371 on all of the Halloween projects, I would probably need at least 10 more. So I don't mind swapping out the 310 for the 3371. Okay, next is Cats, Bats, and Witches, which is 174. Most of my Prairie Schoolers are actually Halloween because I just love them. They are my favorite. But I do like a lot of the other charts too. So book 174, Cats, Bats, and Witches. And it is also the Off-White Monaco. And I have pulled DMC 310. I have a cone of DMC 310. So I just cut off a whole bunch of yard pieces because I do loop start. So I just cut, this is about 2 skeins worth. Let's see. And the 921 for the orange. So that's what I had originally planned to stitch this with. So I probably will just do it. And I'll probably start with the bigger piece on this one instead of the medium. Because there's a lot, there's a big block stitching there. Can you see it? With that little town? I think I can get some headway on here. Also, the way that it works, I kind of did an estimation of on Saturdays and Sundays being able to get through at least 2 projects and then 1 project each Monday through Friday. And if I do that, I can get through my whole entire list of projects here 2.5 times. So this one is far enough up on the list where I can get to it maybe twice. So if I start with the big one, I might be able to get 1 whole building done or something, you know? But progress is progress, and even if I only get to it 1 time, then 500 stitches for me is what I like to have in a new start. This is book 101. Is that what it says? Yes, 101, Christmas Strawberries. I have never made a strawberry before, but I am willing to learn new things. So this one was a little bit hard for me to figure out how much fabric to cut and not waste any by having, I don't want to cut a whole bunch off and just throw it in the trash, but I don't want to cut my fabric too small and then not have enough to finish the strawberries. So I did some careful calculations, and I got pieces that are about this size, and there's 6 of them, plus the little pin keep down here. So I have all of the white fabric, the white Monaco. Now, I do like the white Monaco or the tea-colored Monaco that you can get in the tubes, but here's the difference between this and the stuff that comes off the bolt. This has sizing in it, or starch. So it's stiff, it's stiffer. And the other stuff is just like regular fabric. You know, it's soft and flowy. It's nice and thick still, but it's stiff. Which I like that because I do like to stitch in hand, but I don't know, there's just something about the fabric that comes off the bolt. Okay, and this uses a green and a red only, so I have this and both colors ready to go. I had the 377 and I just needed the 319, so I only had to get one. I only got 1 skein of each color, and I just figure I'll get as many done as possible. I think what I'm going to do, you know, this one right here only uses the red, and it's like candy cane stripes. I wonder how much of that I can get done. I might try doing that one first, just to see if I can get a small, quick finish. Okay. Hey. I am sitting downstairs again with my special guest. He's upset because my husband left for a little while, so have you ever heard the term spare human? I'm the spare human. I actually may be the spare to the spare. So I may be the donut. He's not usually happy with staying home with me. He's a little perturbed. But this is Dexter. He's a Weimaraner. He's 9. And he likes to lay with me on the couch just because he likes the couch. But yeah, he much prefer my husband. Okay, the next is book 196 called Nevermore. And this one, of course, Halloween. I absolutely love this. And this one has the two little ornament size. And I think I'm going to stitch the one with the urn that says 1331. I don't know what 1331 means. I'm sure that someone smarter than me does, but that is the one that I'm going to start with. I think it's going to be adorable, and I'm going to have a great time with that one. But again, this is using the off-white. Off-white. I have black. I have 640 DMC, and that's what I will be using. This one does call for a couple other colors for the big chart, but it also uses 3371. I don't know. I'll see. I'll pull the 3371 from a different project and see how I like it with the 640, but I may just stitch it with this. Okay, so that's that one. Halloweenies. Halloweenies is a great one. It has 9, I believe. 3, 6, 7, 8 small ones and then a bigger one. So the one in the middle is slightly bigger than the rest of them. But I have all of the pieces of fabric, and this actually looks like I'm mixing the colors. This is ivory and this is off-white. I don't know if you can tell on camera the difference, but somehow I mixed them up. Oh well. I'm going to carry on because it's already cut and I don't want to waste any of it, because I'm basically using the rest of my stash of Monaco from the Bolt for these projects. I don't want to waste it. It's already cut. And more than likely, all of these little ornaments aren't going to be hanging next to each other. And besides sharing the secret with you all, no one else is going to know. We don't get a lot of company over here, so it's fine. Okay, I have floss pulled, so I have 921 and 422 pulled, but of course, let's see, I think I had 3371 in here, but I pulled it out to work on Pumpkin Patch. I think I might just use black on this one too. Yeah. And it looks like there's some 898. Yeah. I'm just going to get started with black, I think, because, hey, quit. He has allergies right now, and they lick when they're itchy. And we're trying to figure it out, but the vet said that allergy testing is really expensive, so we're just trying to follow some of the recommendations from the vet to help alleviate the problem. I don't know if you can see him very well, but this paw right here that he had hanging down, that's the worst one, and it was really bothering him yesterday. I know this is about Prairie Schooler, but he's right here. Let's talk about him. Okay, book 132 is Autumn Leaves. And I think I have to start with the big one on this one because of the colors that I have pulled. I actually have a lot of colors pulled for this one. Oh, you know why? One of the reasons is, I don't know if you can see it, but here they have the smaller ones in a 4 up, but then down here they have them individual as ornaments, and they change the background colors on the pumpkin and the owl. And then they pulled out the square in the middle of the big one to be a 5th ornament. So I think I pulled colors to do them as ornaments instead of the square. So I do have those. I have 3371. This one is actually an anchor floss that is equivalent to DMC 642. 640 and then 400. And here I have Monaco coffee tea dyed. Here's the dark side and the light side. I actually cut fabric to do that in the square and not the individual pieces. Boo. I think what happened, here's the dark side. It smells so good when it's fresh, out of the coffee tea dye pot. I think what happened is I made notes on what I was planning on doing, because I pre-measured the fabric, but I didn't make good enough notes. So this should have been 4 individual pieces instead of 1 piece. However, they're small enough where they may fit on here. I will just have to do some math to see if I can cut them apart, because when you're doing ornaments, you don't need as much fabric, fabric border, at least in my opinion. You don't need as much as what you're going to need if you're going to lace it and put it in a frame. So I will see how much fabric I have, and you will find out next time. Okay, so that's Autumn Leaves. This one is squirrely. It's falling. I have these 2. I hope they go in here. Yikes. That's the cool thing about Prairie Schooler too, is that she used, Pamela Bird is the designer. She used the same symbols, like throughout. The same symbol for 3371 is basically the symbol from all the charts that I've ever had my hands on. It's always the same symbol for 3371. So that's really nice. And she uses the same color palette through all of them. Well, not all of them, obviously, because the ones that are spring aren't the same as the autumn ones, but you know what I mean. Like all of the ones that kind of would go together in a season, the color palettes are the same and the symbols are the same. So that way they're kind of interchangeable. So even if I drop those out of another bag, they go in, they could be used in that one, and I'll figure it out when the time comes. Okay, next up is another whip, and it's Witching Hour, book 200, and I started on the big one, and I am probably 75% complete. Maybe. Let's check it out. And I started this a while ago, and so I already had the fabric for the smalls, but look at how much fabric I have set aside for those 2 smalls. That's a lot. I don't know why I have that much. I might be able to swap it out. I'll have to see if I can swap it out, because that's a big piece for 2 little smalls, and they are she mounted them on cardboard that was 3 1/8 inch by 2 inches. So this is a huge piece of fabric. I could probably use 1 square for each of them. I don't know what I did. I did this a long time ago. I started this, what, a year and a half ago, almost 2 years maybe. Did I do just Halloween stitching? Was it in October 2022? I think I did Halloween stitching in October. And I think this was a start then. So here's what I have so far. I finished the house, except for I think there's a little back stitching on top of the house. I think this tree is holding some pumpkins. Let's see. He's holding a pumpkin in one hand, just like over here. And then they both have some back stitching. But besides that, the bottom half of the chart is finished. And so then I just have to do above the house, the bats and the letters and the witches and the moons. So there's still a bit of stitching, but height and width wise, I'm 50% done. But those witches are no joke. These witches and the moons are no joke. So this is what I have. Those trees actually were not necessarily fun. It's something, the tree branches were something that if you messed up a little bit, you could probably fudge it along. However, you don't want to run into the stuff above it. So there's the chimney smoke and the bats and stuff above the trees that you didn't want to run into. So, and I am using black on that one, and I really like the way that it looks. So, okay, the next one is Autumn Samplers, and this one, remember toward the beginning of this video, I said that I ran out of the coffee tea dye fabric. I didn't have enough for this. So this is Autumn Samplers. There's 3 pieces in this one. And I just noticed that on this one, the leaf runs past the border a little bit. I think that's kind of cute. I think I planned on starting with the middle one down in the cornucopia. I pulled the floss for those, and I will coffee tea dye some fabric for this, but I pulled out $8.90 or $8.69, $4.34. Those are pretty. And $9.20. Well, this says Anchor $9.22, but it's DMC $9.30. Oh my gosh, I am losing fabric everywhere. I have no idea where this came from. I'm just gonna put it in this one. Oh boy. This one doesn't even have a tag on it. Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. Sometimes I do that. I'm not very responsible. Oops. We're just going to put that back in there. Okay, Hocus Pocus. Another Halloween. It's book 197 is Hocus Pocus. I am seeing this little thing here with the crystal ball. I may do that one to start off, this one. Sometimes I like starting with the big charts because I feel like if you get the little ones done, then it's kind of daunting to have the bigger one left to finish. Sometimes I think the small ones are. So I have the fabric. See, I cut the appropriate size for this one. I can cut this straight down the middle and put each small on here. As I'm looking at it, yes, I want to do the one with the crystal ball, but I see that I did not pull the orange floss. I think I might be able to steal a little bit from somewhere else. We'll see. Okay. Okay, we're getting there. Okay, the next one is a Prairie Year, which is a whip. I've been working through these. I have 5 done. I have finished the one for July. I'm almost done with August. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to be a responsible cross stitcher, and I'm going to finish the August block before I start on the next one. So I really want to start on the October block, but I like to finish things too. So I'm going to finish the watermelon before I move on. And here's my progress on the watermelon. I messed up when I first started, so I turned the fabric upside down and I started over. So I just have this corner here. There's a couple leaves and a couple flowers, I think, and that's it. The whole watermelon is complete. I just ran out of 520. So this one, the color lot or the dye lot on the 520 may be a little bit different, but there's nothing I can do about it. I didn't realize it was going to use that much green. Otherwise, I would have saved that portion of the green for a smaller square. Maybe like the bunny one. It doesn't use as much green for April, but I didn't realize it. So, all right. So I have them all in this bag. I pre-cut all the fabric and I have them in this bag. So here's the July and the September and the November. And the Santa is up with the rest of the finishes. So I will be responsible and finish. I'm going to pull my fabric out right now. I will finish August and then move on to October. Sounds like a plan? That'll be a good thing for me to do. Okay. Ooh, another whip. My last Prairie Schooler whip that I have going is Stars and Stripes. My special guest is back, but he's going this way. I don't know. Stars and Stripes, book 155. I'm stitching this, 2 of them on the same piece of fabric. And I will show you what I mean by that. I am using the called for floss on these, and this is the ivory. And you'll be able to tell it has a little bit of a yellow tint to it. So if you're new here, this is your first time seeing it, I'm doing these for my daughter, and she thought it would be a good idea to pair them up and stitch them like this, so they will be finished this way. So there's 4 different sets. So I finished the Presidents. I'm working on the Ship and the Whale, which I am almost finished. And then next I will be working on, I think I had already decided that I was going to work on the Liberty Bell and the Eagle. So that's next. But first, I must have, the last time that I worked on this, I must have been in a rush to, and I put the stuff away in a rush because I have stuff everywhere. I have a needle with floss and I usually don't do that. But so here is the progress. I am almost finished with this one. I have to finish the border here in the corner and then finish the ship. And let's see, there's flags on all of them. See, so I'm almost done. It might actually take my whole 500 stitches to get it done, but that's okay because I've been working on that one for a while and I kind of want to wrap it up. And if I do get through the list 2.5 times, then I'll for sure be able to finish the ship chart and move on to the eagle, because it will be the eagle. The eagle will be on this side and the Liberty Bell will be on this side. So I'll be starting with the eagle. Okay, my special guest has laid down again. Okay, this one, this is not necessarily something that I would go to, but I needed to have this one. And so I finally found it, and it is book 31, Adam Names the Creatures. And this is the one where I cut the big piece, and I don't think that I wanted to do that. So here is the, I don't know if you can see it, but here's the dark side. And here is the light side. And I will be stitching it on the light side. It's still a little bit darker than what she used here. Pamela Bird used lamb's wool quite often. This was actually stitched on 20 count beige Jobelin using 2 strands. I would love to stitch it on 20 count, but I don't have any, and I was trying, when you're starting 15 projects in 1 month, your budget is a big deal. And it was kind of a spur of the moment thing. I think I just came up with it in my last video, which was what, a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. So I will be stitching it on this with a 3-inch border, and I will frame it up. This is a really pretty frame, but again, it's not necessarily my style, but I don't know. It just depends on what I find when I finally get this finished. So I have the floss, I think, to get started on the hippo and the lion and the camel. At least those ones, I believe. So I should be able to get through 500 stitches, no problem on this one. And then we'll see what happens after that. And the one that I actually didn't have the autumn samplers, if I don't get that, because I was supposed to dye that fabric this weekend and I'm running out of time. It is 10 to 5 on Monday afternoon. So I'm probably not going to get to it. That one may have to wait until next time. I would love to start it with these ones, with all of these, but it might have to wait. Okay, this is Country Fair 1 and Country Fair 2. I found these at a thrift store at a really good price. I bought these for a friend, but she ended up having them already. They are quite damaged because it looks like they got wet. They were together and they got wet and then they got pulled apart. So they are damaged, and the shop put stickers with their contact information on. They are actually stamped also with the contact information for the store and the inside. So I don't know if these would resell, but they are Prairie Schoolers. They don't necessarily match any of my decor, but I still like them a lot, so I am going to stitch them. I will be in no rush to finish them, but I do have all of the fabric, all 8 pieces ready to go, and a bunch of the floss to get started on them. Okay, this one is a Halloween heads up. I am doing this on the white Monaco, the stiff stuff that you can get on the roll, and I have DMC 3371 and DMC 921, so that must have been what I decided to do. It actually calls for another color too. Do I have it in here? Yep. 3777 for the inside of the cat's mouth and the devil's head. Stitch those. Or I will stitch those with these colors. Okay. Get that back in there. But I have all of the pieces cut for this one as well. And actually, I was kind of lucky. I was talking to my husband about it, and he's like, well, what are you going to do? Do you have enough fabric? And I said, well, if I use white for those ones, which I tend to use white on the Halloween, I've got some other ones upstairs that are done that I use the white on, and I really like the way that it looks. So I said, let me go see if I have enough scraps, because each of the rolls that I had already cut a chunk out. So I said, let me go see if what I have left from each of those rolls is enough, and I had plenty left over. Okay, this is the last one, and it is harvest time. This is another one of those like autumn samplers. It has 3, and I have 2. I have 2 pieces. But again, those are really big. So I think I'm going to remeasure. This smells so good. I love the way that it smells. I'm going to remeasure and see if I have it right. I think I do. I think I gave a 3-inch border so I could frame them together like that. You know, well, not together, but 3 frames. I just have to remeasure and see. But I have 2. I only need 1 to get started. So I need to dye more fabric for Country Seasons. I need 1 for Country Seasons. I need 3 pieces for Autumn Samplers, and then I need 1 piece for Harvest Time. Okay, so if I can start all of them, it will be 15 starts and continuing working on 4 whips. And I probably am a crazy person for doing it, but I think it's super fun. I did participate in Stitchmania several years ago, actually in May of 2020, and I started 26 projects. They were all quite small, like small things. Hello. He's getting very anxious because my husband's not home and it's almost 5 o'clock, which is dinner number 1. So, but we are wrapping up. So sorry that you had a drive-by. So I did participate in that and started 26 small projects and finished 13 of them by the end of the month. So this is nothing new. Like, can you back up? Can you back up? Back up. Thank you. No. So, anywho, this is nothing new. These are just going to be ongoing projects added to my whip list. Sorry, you guys have a dog snout in the... Special guests are unpredictable. So anyways, these are my 15 new starts, 4 whips, and I am excited to continue on and getting progress this evening. And I will be back in about 2 weeks to show you progress on these and what I did in the previous 2 weeks. It's not a lot to report on, but I think you'll be excited for my progress on that. It was only one cross stitch project, so cliffhanger, you'll have to wait until next time. So I hope that you saw something in this video to inspire you to either pick up a languishing whip, pick up a languishing whip, or to try something new. Join me on a Prairie Schooler September. Use the hashtag when you post on social media, and I'm super excited to see your progress. If you have a floss tube and you're going to join in with me, please let me know so that way I can follow along. Until the next time I see you, have a great 2 weeks. Bye.